Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm continuing my series on how to sing like. Next up, Steve Perry from Journey. If you wouldn't mind, please like and subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. Don't forget to ring that bell so I can keep new cool videos coming your way. And I have a singing course, and the course is called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else. You can find it right here at kentemplinvocalacademy.com, where we negotiate and discuss how to get into all of these really cool places of these great singers in hopes to help make you a great singer. So with that said, I am just going to dive right into Steve. I've got a lot to say about him, and I've got a lot of examples I want to cover. So I'm going to start with myself, and then I'm going to go through a few of my students so you can see it's not just me singing or singing in the style of Steve. Now, when I sing something, I don't try to emulate the singer exactly. That's not where I come from as a singer. I've done all kinds of, sound alikes and, how to sing exactly like someone. I've done a lot of that for film and television over the years, but I like to bring my own influence and who I like as singers and put that in the cauldron as my recipe to stir up, who it is that I want to represent or spit out as a singer. So I'm going to go ahead and do my version here. This is a journey separate ways. I'll talk about it, and then I'm going to go through systematically through some of my other singers as well. But let's just dive right in. I'll tell you where I'm coming from in this song here. Here we stand, worlds apart, hearts broken in two. Sleepless nights, losing ground, I'm reaching for you. Cool. Now, Steve Perry, if you listen, this is the beginning when he started to kind of sing heavier, right? Some of the earlier Journey stuff was a lot lighter, and this is when he kind of stepped up his game to bring in some more heavy vocal tones, Oh, Sherry, I'm in love, the solo album stuff, and then this stuff earlier on. So now for me, it's actually easier because that's the background that I have as a singer, is singing heavier. So Steve Perry was more in the R&B camp as a vocalist, trying to sing heavy. I'm more of a heavy guy, stepping into more of an R&B camp in the Steve Perry camp. Now, in the rock world, most rock singing is very staccato, right? And a lot of broken up phrases. Now, you've heard me say over and over and over again, and this is the biggest example of this I want to use, is contiguous phrase singing. In other words, connecting your words and your phrases, your sentences, so that you're not breaking up the words, so that you can keep your throat open for good open throat technique. Now, I cover all of this in my singing course. This is so important, guys. This one concept of good open throat technique is just worth its weight in gold. I tell you straight up. Now, in this tune, if you notice, I'm abiding by that, though I'm bringing in a little bit of heavier tones to my own voice and a little more girth in the bottom. So it's a little bit more like Lou Graham, Paul Rogers, David Coverdale, Glenn Hughes, those kinds of singers singing a song like this in the style of Steve Perry. Now, you're going to see in some of my female examples, I hold them a little truer to Steve's sound so that they themselves, they wouldn't necessarily have their own style they want to bring along to make it a little more identifiable to their own personal sound, because they're kind of more in training in learning Steve's sound rather than bringing their own personal style into Steve's sound. I hope that makes sense to you. But anyway, so let's continue. Here we go. The feeling that is gone can't change your mind. Now you can still can't change your mind. Like I got kind of more of a Dio sort of approach to it, right? And I like that sound, and I lighten it up a lot. So if you notice, I'm not a one-dimensional singer where I have to sing heavy. In fact, I recommend to all of my students that you learn to sing something light or clear, not light, but clear first, with a lot of control. And then if you want to lean into it as you feel that you can safely, then you can do that as well. So let's continue. If we can't go on, survive the tide, love your mind. Now, you've heard me say all vowel sounds stem from it's the la, ah, where the throat is wide out. If we can't go on, right? Everything's real, If you notice, the whole song is like that, right? Listen really closely to the vocal tract shaping in my throat. They're all variations of the ah vowel and just very slight variations to get to ah, a, e, o, and oo, okay? And even in the cases of oo, I'm really singing o with oo in it. I'm not really going ooh, I'm going ooh, you know, instead of ooh, it's ooh, it's o with oo in it, okay? Here we go. Whoops. Hey, love will find you. Break those chains and bind you. One night will remind you how we went our separate ways. If he ever hurt you, true love won't desert you. You know I still love you. Though we touched and went our separate ways. Hear that? I'm keeping my vowels nice and open, so okay, that's me. And I could have done it a lot more legato, a lot more portamento, and real, you know, and really not done real stabby kind of vocals. It's just I kind of like that sound because it brings more energy to the song for me. But let's kind of dive into something completely different. I want to dive into Katie. Now, Katie was a very again a very punchy rock singer, and the smoothness in her voice has come a long way. You can see that in a lot of the videos we've done with her. We chose lights together because I thought that'd be a fun video just for us to do. Listen to her approach on this. Here we go.
When the lights go down in the city,
Sweet, smooth,
and the sun shines on the bay. Oh, I wanna be there in my city. Oh, 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 oh.
Now, not to gross anybody out, but I want you, and by the way, guys, I don't mean this as like a sexual comment, so please refrain from that. I want you to look down the back of her throat, and I want you to see how open that throat is. Now, I encourage all my students to get handheld mirrors out there and watch how the vocal tract shaping is happening in the throat, and Katie's no exception to that. So as we're going along in the tune, look and see how open her vowels are in the throat and how they stay open pretty much through the whole thing, unless it's an E or a high A-E-8 sound, okay? So take a quick look at this as we're going along.
So you think you're lonely? Well, my friend, I'm lonely too.
Keeping the tongue to the base of the jaw.
I wanna get back to my city by the bay. Yeah. Whoa, it's sad how there's been mornings.
See, mornings
without you.
without you.
Without your charms. Oh, oh, mama, mama, mama. Oh, oh, oh.
Now, another thing about Steve is very fluid and uses a fair amount of mixed air in the sound. So, hi, out on the road, you know, hi, right? He's very and he brings a lot of nasality into the sound. Now, his nasality is cool. It's not like overdone where it's real shrill and, you know, you don't want it real brassy. You don't want to hear it anymore. He combines enough air in the sound. It's almost like the French, you know, and those of right, right? Very bright tones in the face, nice long vowels, really long in the vowel, but a lot of nasality in the sound too. So that's Katie, and you know we could play. We'll put all these in the description so you can see, check out the full versions of these songs. But I want to take a little departure in a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to bring Sarah Loera in this. Now, all these singers, we worked up these songs to be enough like the original singer, but still maintain the integrity of them as singers too, okay? Because no one wants to be a carbon copy or a clone. But notice the similarities using the Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy method, how all of these singers got to this similar tonality, but maintaining their own style and texture. Check it out.
highway run into the midnight sun. Wheels go round and round, you're on my mind. Restless hearts sleep alone tonight, sending all my love along the wire.
Watch this.
They say that the road ain't no place to start a family.
Pretty close, man, but it's still Sarah.
Right down the line, it's been you and me. And loving and music, man, ain't always what it's supposed to be. Oh, girl, you stand by me. I'm forever yours, faithfully.
All right, now you can really hear those open, warm, velvety tones. Now, another interesting thing is if you watch some other stuff from Sarah, man, she can pull out a Stevie Nicks like you could not even tell the difference. She's so good at it. And Stevie is a polar opposite singer, very, I don't want to say one-dimensional, that's kind of mean. She doesn't have a lot of range and uses a lot of nasality in her sound with a very caprino or goat's wiggle vibrato, whereas Steve Perry doesn't do that. So that's kind of interesting on this front. Now, I want to pull out one more stop that's really interesting, and this is my student Sonika from Grenada, Sony. Now, we decided to do an R&B version of this, and she has a very beautiful, round, warm, textured voice, and we changed up some of the melodies a little bit to accommodate the R&B style, but I want you to listen to using the same kind of technique in an R&B sort of style, which is a little more like Steve Perry, but even more extreme, more like a Christina Aguilera, or even farther than that, more on the soul side. So check it out. Maybe Mariah Carey a little bit, right?
Lying beside you here in the dark, feeling your heartbeat with mine. Softly you whisper, you're so sincere. How could our love be so blind? We sailed on together, we drifted apart, and here you are by my side. So now I come to you with open arms and nothing to hide.
Now, I want to do this chorus again. She brings a lot more into the front, into the violonazzo port, in the front center of the nose. But hers is a little more on the Donna Summer side in the way she's doing it, and her vowels are really thick in the bottom, warm and thick in the bottom. But she's using a lot of agility in the chords themselves to get some of her runs and whatnot out, much more stylistically for herself than trying to stay true to Steve Perry, right? So she's very Sonika on the song, and yet she uses the open throat technique in the vowels. So let me back this up just a skosh. Check out the chorus. Right?
Nothing to hide, believe what I say. So here I am with open arms, hoping you'll see what your love means to me. Open arms.
Cool. All right, so that's yet another example of this. Now I want to show Sarah. I'm going to showcase her one more time because she also did "Don't Stop Believin'." So I want to check this out.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere.
Very similar to Steve in this
Just
approach.
a city boy Born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, the smell of light and cheap perfume. For a smile that can share the night, it goes on and on and on and on. Strangers, acquaintances.
See, very, very similar. On and on and on and on, right? Very, very similar approach to that. Now, we also did a version of Separate Ways. I'm not sure if I have that one up here or not. Yeah, here we go. Right here. Check this out.
Here we stand, worlds apart, hearts broken in two.
She's a little more power in the sound, right?
Sleepless nights, losing ground, I'm reaching for you, feeling that it's gone, can't change your mind.
Good
If we
overthrow.
can go on to survive the tide, love divine. Someday love will find you. Break those.
Now notice it says, someday love will find you. Again, so now we're hitting the chords a little harder, a little snappier, and get a little more energy and a little more thrust out of it as we're going through it. So anyway, I cover all of this stuff in my singing course, guys. So if you're interested, you can find it at KenTamplinVocalAcademy.com. I do most all of this by request, guys. So I'm getting requests, how do I sing like this? Next, we're gonna do Freddie Mercury, we're gonna do all kinds of crazy stuff. In this case with Steve Perry, so if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe, and definitely stick around for my next video.